not going to invest and monetize Jason. What I'm about to show you will be worth more than most people's entire business education, what I'm going to share with you here today. And for those of you who were able to grab monetize, or will grab monetize by the end of the presentation here today, I have some extra special resources that I'm going to provide to you as well. So grab something to write with, because I'm about to show you how to turn thin air into cold hard cash. If you're ready, drop some fire emojis into the chat. Let's go, baby, let's go. Now, before we dive into the good stuff, let me tell you why I'm here, because the story is absolutely wild. My name is Jason Flavin, and I took a 16-hour flight from Los Angeles to Dubai. I left behind my wife, who I am madly in love with, and I'm working these late nights in a time zone that is completely ridiculous for my 42-year-old ass. And I'm doing all this to be here with you today. Now, why would I do something like this? And here's why. Because what Iman has built is so damn powerful that I had to be a part of it. And trust me, I can judge this stuff better than anyone. See, I haven't just watched digital history unfold. I helped write the damn history book on it. See, over a decade ago, I disrupted Amazon so hard, yeah, that Amazon, that they literally had to change their terms of service because of what we were doing so effectively on their platform. And the people that I helped get started there, many of them are millionaires now, living a good life. All because they moved when I told them to move, and they moved how I told them to move. And Amazon was just the beginning, my friend, because then when e-commerce exploded with Shopify, I was sitting front row again. I partnered with the first company that got Shopify's approval on a digital program, and I helped regular like they had their own Federal Reserve. Now, some of the brands that I've worked with, you probably have their products in your house right now. We're talking household brand names, and then came Zoom after that. You know, that company that's worth billions of dollars. I saw that wave coming from miles away. I became the leading authority on their platform for doing certain kinds of presentations, and then Zoom themselves brought me in to train their users right before they went public. And we're talking today, they became worth billions in 24 hours. And here's the crazy thing. I did all of this without any social media presence. I'm just kind of getting started right now, and I'm fumbling in the dark. I'm not very good at it. I don't have that big personal brand. I don't dance on TikTok. I don't post motivational quotes on LinkedIn. I just work directly with the best. I tend to stay private, and I have become the super weapon behind some of the biggest names that you know today in the digital product space. So I've been around the block. I wear the scars of trial and error, and I carry the lessons from the rings into everything that I do. And because of this track record, the best in the world seek my advice. They want to hire me, and I say no to 99 out of 100 of them. And I only work with the absolute best of the best, but the best offers for the best audiences. So when Iman says, hey man, here's what I'm cooking with, here's what I've built, you want in? I said, let's go, baby, I'm in. And why is that? Because Iman has the very best that I've seen in this space solving every problem in the entire world, which is how to create high-value digital products at scale. And that's exactly what we're about to show you how to do on this session today, because out of everything that I've sold, every major client that I've applied, every $1 million launch that I've been behind and been part of, there's always been a digital product at the heart of it. I'm absolutely obsessed with digital products, and I mean literally, my wife thinks I have some sort of problem. She'll catch me at like 2 in the morning scribbling a product idea on a napkin after waking up from a dead sleep, and I get super excited about some weird esoteric way to package up a digital product, and she's like, baby, I think you need to go see a therapist. Because it's not normal. I'm certainly not normal, and I am absolutely so damn passionate about this. Way more than anything I've done, because while it's cool helping people crush it, selling cheese graters on Amazon, some of them made millions with it, by the way, and it's awesome watching entrepreneurs blow up, ship and swaddle blankets off of Shopify. That's pretty cool, and it's really neat advising the leading software companies and agencies on strategy. I can't name names, but you would know who they are. Nothing, and I repeat, nothing gets me fired up like digital products. Because unlike physical products, you don't need inventory, you don't need a warehouse, you don't need to deal with shipping delays or customs or any of that bullshit. And unlike services, you don't need to trade time for money, you don't get stuck on the hamster wheel with more clients means more hours, and you don't burn out trying to scale yourself. Digital products are pure leverage, create once, sell forever. And here's the thing, even though I've been obsessed with this for years, it's not something that I could just go out and recommend to anybody who wants to get started online. Why is that? Because until recently, the skill threshold was too damn high. You needed to be an expert, you needed to be a writer, you needed to be a speaker, you needed to know how to process information, set up complicated systems, and most people aren't willing to put in the years and the time to master that. So I kept the strategy close to the chest. Only sharing it with the highest level clients, the ones who could afford to hire teams, handle all the technical stuff, and then suddenly the barriers around us started crumbling. You could generate the content now in minutes instead of months. You could create the content without being a subject matter expert to publish your first ever digital product. You could create the landing pages for it without knowing any code. Just 2 lines of prompt can build something incredible, like what you're seeing on your screen right now in front of your very eyes in real time. You can automate all sorts of different things that you would need in order to have a successful digital product with pushes and buttons. And it's exciting. But here's where most people mess it up. They think that this thing called artificial intelligence, or AI for short, is some sort of magic wand. That they can just, type "make me money" into ChatGPT. ChatGPT says, "Aye, boss," and then the cash starts rolling in. That is complete BS. That is yet to work. I don't think it will ever work, okay? If that were the case, you would see way more people making serious money online than you currently do. The truth of it is this: AI is just a tool. It is an incredibly powerful, useful, amazing tool, yet it is still a tool. What matters, less the tool, more how you use the tool. And you want to use it under the right strategic framework with the right approach, following the right sequence. And guess what? That framework, that's what I accidentally stumbled upon on November 12, 2007. When I was broke, when I was desperate, when I had a single tool on the other. Now this framework has 3 core pillars. Make any one of these and you're hosed, my friends. You know all 3, and you're like a simple money machine. Would you like to know all 3 of these? Well, here they are. The first one is speed, so write that down. And we're not talking about just working fast, although speed does matter. We're talking about striking fast while the iron is hot. When you spot an opportunity in the market, when you see a gap that needs filling, when you notice people desperately asking for a solution that they can't find and pay money for, you need to move on that, my friend, and you need to move fast. Not next week, not next month, not when you have more time. I'm talking right now. Because here's what I learned the hard way. Markets move at lightning speed. What's a burning problem today might be solved by someone else tomorrow, and the window of opportunity is usually very tiny. And the people who win are the ones who can move the fastest. And that's why AI is such a game changer once you understand this. It allows you to go from idea to launch in days or even minutes instead of months. And I'll show you more on that here shortly. Here's the second pillar, though, specific. So write that down. And this is when most people completely crap the bed. They try to be all things to everyone. They try to create some sort of generic, watered-down thing that appeals to nobody, and that's a huge mistake, because the riches are in the niches. But not just any niche. You need to find the specific intersection where 3 specific things meet. And it's this. Write this down. A problem people are desperate to solve. That's number 1. A problem they're willing to pay money for to solve. That's number 2. And number 3 is a problem that you can use AI to actually solve. And solve it better than anyone else. Those are the 3 criteria we're going to examine very deeply today. So when you find that sweet spot and you create a laser-focused solution, people will literally throw money at you. I'm talking about charging premium prices and having people thank you for it. And we're going to break that down here shortly. Now there's the 3rd pillar. So write this one down. Consistency. And this is the secret sauce that separates the one-hit wonders from the empire builders. Anyone can get lucky once. Building real wealth requires systems, though. It requires processes, though. And my favorite thing, it requires frameworks that you can work over and over and over again. And I've got some of those frameworks for you here today. See, most people, they launch one product, make some money with it, and then they sit back and wait for some sort for the magic to occur. That's not a business, that's a lottery ticket. The real money comes from building a machine system that can pump out high-value digital products consistently, like feeding with the heart, month after month, year after year, creating multiple income streams that compound upon each other. And that's how you go from making $4 to making millions. And that's exactly this framework. Exactly what I'm sure you're talking about. Are you ready to go? You ready to dive deep? You ready to get into these three elements? Put a hell yes into the chat if you're ready. I'm ready. You ready? Let's go, baby. Let me break down speed for you first, because this is where most people completely miss the boat. This is pillar number one, right? Speed works in two directions, and you want to nail them both. And if you do, then money will become a thing that you used to worry about. Now here's the first direction you have to understand. It's called speed of deployment. The faster you can get a digital product to market, the better your chances of striking. Oh, here's what I learned after launching hundreds. I repeat that I have launched hundreds of digital products over the years. Here's what I've learned. Every digital product is an asset. Period. It's like a piece of digital real estate. Now, some of these assets, they hit like a freight train. Boom, right out of the gate. Thank you, God. I love when that happens. They meet a desperate market in need, and they crush a painful problem. Fantastic. And they start chugging along, and they start generating profits and sales almost instantaneously. Now, I've had dozens of products that have done that. They've just shot out of a cannon and made $10,000 in their first week, or $20,000, or $50,000, even over $100,000 in their first month. In fact, my first six-figure product in a single month happened on June of 2010, and I will remember that for the rest of my life, because that was the same month that my first daughter. So I'm like, six-figure baby. I actually literally created a digital product called Six-Figure Baby, how I did 6 figures in that month. Now that would have been later, but this is how I remember this. I've even done $9.8 million in 8 days, and that was a freaking amazing week. And here's the thing, not every product is going to be a home run. Most of them aren't, and that's perfectly fine, because some products are like that steady friend, never lets you down. They chug along, few sales a day, bringing you in consistent cash flow, which is the most important thing. It's like a stock market dividend, excess for the return is a lot higher, okay? So I've had products that are, some of my products are 10 years old, and they're still generating, $2,000 a month, $3,000 a month, $5,000 a month, and they're making 6 figures over the course of the years from something that I've only touched and created once. Then there are some products that just don't bite. Like, I've had a lot of flops over the years. I probably have 20 or 30 and maybe even 40 products that were flops in the commercial sense. They didn't just like start raining money from the sky. Instead, maybe they got to sell here, sell there, and they trickled in. And you know what? That's still not a loss. Because, and write this down, every product that you create becomes an asset that you can leverage. So that failed product, that can become a bonus for your next digital product that you launch. Or it can be the thing that you give away for free as content that will attract people to you who will then buy other products that you publish. It can be training material when you do coaching or a mastermind. It can be content for a book that you then fold into the next digital product. Everything has use once you create it in a digital form. As long as you can launch it fast, fail quick, and win even quicker. So there you go. I want you to really embrace that. Launch fast, fail quick, win even quicker. That's the motto, okay? You do that, you're absolutely golden. Then it's not a matter of if you'll start hitting the big bucks. It's just a matter of when. Because here's a little secret that nobody talks about. Most successful entrepreneurs, they have a graveyard of failed products behind them. The difference is they kept launching, they kept moving, they kept iterating. And this is what success is, okay? While everyone else is sort of, the first little beautiful product, like it's their firstborn, the successful among us who were already launching 2 and 3 and 4 and product number 5 and 6 and 7 all the way up to product number 12, and maybe it was product number 12 that made them rich. And that's direction number 1 is speed. Direction number 2 is speed of results. And this one is my very favorite. This was the biggest game changer for me early on in my career. And here's where it's awesome, because speed works on the buyer's side as well, okay? And this is the breakthrough that changed my entire life. See, if your audience can buy buy your digital products and can reduce the time it takes them from consumption to results, they will pay you more money. Not the same amount of money, they will pay you more. And this is true even if they could get that same information for free elsewhere. And let me prove it to you. I'll give you a real example of this. Say somebody wants to learn how to start their very own podcast. Now, they could go and spend 16 hours researching it on YouTube, and they could even listen to podcasts on podcasting, and they could ask ChatGPT a whole bunch of questions about it, and they could go to Google and say, how do I start a podcast? And then they could read through all the different results and do all that. Or they could, pay you $97 for a step-by-step system that gets them launched in 2 hours. Just like that podcast. Guess which most people in a market would choose? They choose the buying decision every single time because it saves them time. Only a very few people would rather spend hours upon hours upon hours to get it for free as opposed to spending a little bit of money to get the result very quickly. And with synthesized AI, and this is the game changer, we can create these products. We can create them faceless. We can create products where you don't have to be an expert in them yourself. And these products will be as good as any product on the market right now. And then we just point them at these speed opportunities. And we can develop these products in a lazy afternoon. And this is what was my big breakthrough in my $250 million plus digital product career. See, I was sitting in that little apartment. I was stressed about money when it hit me like a lightning bolt. I don't need to create a digital product that gets a better result. I don't need to create a digital product that gets a bigger result. I don't even have to create a digital product that gets a completely new result. I just have to get a faster result. That's all I have to do. Like Disneyland. Think about it. Your admission ticket into Disneyland, they let you ride any ride that you want. You pay the fee, you go in there, the park is yours. You want to ride this ride, go for it. You want to ride that ride, go for it. You just got to stay in line. Sometimes for over 2 hours. Now, if you want though, you can throw a little extra money their way and buy a fast pass. And now you can ride the exact same ride. It's not a better ride. You get the exact same experience once you're on the ride. It's not a new experience. You just get to get on the ride a little faster, or in some cases a lot faster. And many people happily pay for this premium. And they do so because time is the most valuable currency that we have. So I want you to write this down. A surefire way to win in the digital product world is to sell speed. So let me tell it to you in 2 words. Sell speed. Let me repeat it to you. Sell speed. And now you can sell speed. No, let me run it back. One more time. Sell speed. Sorry, I got super excited there. And here's your $1 million formula. Find any product that people are already buying. And then tell Synthesize AI, create my version of that digital product, but just make them get the results promised 25% faster. That is a gold nugget. Okay? That just covered all of your investment over the last 4 days, that little secret right there. Say, that product over there that people are already buying, that is getting success, create my version of that, just get them to that result faster. And we call this an edge. And that's it. That's the game, my friend. I've used this strategy dozens and dozens and dozens of times. So think about it this way. Somebody wants to learn Facebook ads. There's like 1,000 courses out there that will teach it to them. But what if I could teach you to set up your first profitable campaign in 30 minutes instead of 30 hours? This doesn't have to be better. This has to be faster. Or say you wanted to start a YouTube channel because everybody's teaching that these days. What if, though, instead of saying the normal way, say here's how you get your first 1,000 subscribers in a couple days instead of many, many different months. Not more subscribers, not more money, just sooner. There's a whole bunch of people out there that want to write a book, and there's plenty of courses that exist on that. What if you could show them how to finish their first draft in a weekend instead of a year? Now make a better book, just faster. You see the pattern? Same destination, faster route, higher price, if you wish. Now, I didn't start that way. I started really cheap, so I was scared. But then I learned people will pay for speed. And this is what I did on my first digital product by accident. See, there were already solutions in the market that I was selling by people that were far more accomplished than me, who had been doing it longer. But mine was just faster. It just cut right through the noise. It eliminated the confusion. It got the results in hours instead of weeks. And that $4 sale that I made on November 12, 2007, let me tell you about that exact moment. And why it took me 6 months of pure agony. And now what I had to suffer 6 months before I was finally able to accomplish what you can do in less than 2 hours. See, I was a ghost writer, which is a fancy way of saying I was a literary prostitute. People paid me to write articles for them. I'd go write this article on it, and then they would put their name on it, and they would take all the credit. They would pay me a small amount of money, they would get all the credit, and I would remain invisible. I was like a writing ninja, except it wasn't that cool. Now the money as a ghostwriter is decent. You got to keep in mind this was before the days of Fiverr and these crowdsource sites. And I was making, when I worked really hard, $4,000 a month, which in Brentwood makes you absolutely homeless, which is where I live now, but in Iowa at the time, maybe actually not that bad. I was a baller on a budget. But I was grinding 8 to 12 hours a day writing these articles to make it happen. And it was the classic time for money trap. I was on the hamster wheel of doom. And there was one thing, though, that I got really good at as a ghostwriter. I could write articles for clients really fast. So I figured out earlier that if I could write these articles faster than other ghostwriters, then I could just charge for the article instead of charge for the hour. And suddenly the math changed a little bit. So instead of being capped at something like $15 an hour, I could bang out 3 articles at $5 a piece, and I could make that $15 in half the time. So same work, better system. But I was still trading time for money. I was just a little faster at it. Still breaking my back. I was still clickety-clackety, right? Still writing day in and day out like some sort of content factory worker, and I was getting burned out very quickly. Some days I'd fall asleep at my desk while writing an article. I'd be moving literally on the keyboard as I would write an article on buckwheat pillows or microdermabrasion or some weird esotopical real talk. I actually wrote articles on those topics, right? This is unsustainable, but I was scared to try anything else. If you stay in the familiar, so ghostwriting was reliable, it was predictable, it was boring as hell, but it did pay the bills. And then one day, one fateful day, one amazing, incredible day, as I was bitching and moaning to a friend about how exhausted I was, and he said something that forever changed. He says, dude, why don't you just teach people how you write so fast? And at first I was like, nah, that's ridiculous. Like, who the hell would want that money from me to do that? I wasn't some famous author. I didn't have a best-selling book. I didn't have any book. I was just some rando who happened to be pretty fast at writing these articles. But the idea wouldn't leave in my head, because great ideas tend to stick around. You can shake them off, but they come back, right? Winston Churchill says the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, my friend, there it is. And so this truth haunted me for months as I kept thinking about it. What if I could package up my write articles faster system? And what if I could churn this into a digital product, this expertise I had? And what if I could make money while I was asleep instead of grinding all day and only making money when I was awake? But I kept making excuses. Nobody will buy it. What if it sucks? What if people think that I'm a fraud? You know, that classic imposter syndrome BS. Finally, after 6 months of psyching myself up, after hundreds of hours of writing more articles, after convincing myself that I was ready, I worked up the guts to create my first digital products. And I was so overwhelmed by it that I was only 6 pages long. Because that was all I could manage. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm just going to ship the minimum viable digital product that I can just to say that I did it. Because it's probably going to fail anyway, so let me just get it out of my system and move on with my life. And so I made this tiny little PDF that showed people my system for writing articles faster, not better, just faster, not more profitably, just faster. And I was so scared to price this thing that I charged only $4 for it, 4 George Washingtons, for something that had taken me months to figure out, and months more to work the courage up to put it into a digital product. And then I made it so cheap because I was terrified of people would buy it. And then I took out this tiny little ad on an online classified website. I spent $20 on this advertisement and held my breath, and the next day I woke up with something I had never seen before. Money in my PayPal account from something that I didn't have to directly work upon. find something that creates this. And one day, with this digital product, I made more money in that one day from that one little $4 product than I did the entire previous week writing articles for hours upon hours of play. Let that sink in, friend. One day of passive income beats a week of active grinding. Write that down. Let me run it back again. Let me say it again. One day of passive income beats a whole week of active grinding. Remember this. I didn't teach people how to do the thing better. I didn't promise them they would get bigger results. I didn't say they would be the next Hemingway or anything like that. I just showed them how to do it faster. That's it. Speed. That's it. I showed it to people that were already writing articles, and it was taking them much longer. And so they paid me $4 to cut their time in half. That was it. Boom, instant value. They were like, thank you so much. I practically robbed you by paying you only $4 because every time I write an article now, it takes me half the time. I doubled their output. Boom, instant value. And here's what blew my mind. Within a week, people started contacting me. They're like, Jason, bro, this is amazing. Do you have anything else for sale? And I'm like, uh-oh. I don't have anything else to sell these people. I better get on it. I better make some more digital products. They'd be like, how do you get traffic to these articles, Jason? Can you sell me a product on that? Or like, how do I leverage this to make money with these articles? Can you sell me a product on that? And suddenly, I accidentally had a massive business of demand built up where people wanted to pay me money. And then it becomes really easy to create digital products once people say, as soon as you create that, I will put money in your hand. But it all started from a one tiny little 6-page PDF. Now, here's where this story gets really crazy and why you have a massive unfair advantage that I have. What took me 6 months of mental torture to create, what required me to first become an expert in, what demanded hundreds of hours of trial and error for, you can now do in less than 2 hours. It's synthesization. That's insane. In less than the time it takes you to watch a movie, you'd have a product that's 10 times better than my original. More comprehensive, more valuable, more professional, without the need to become an expert first, without spending months psyching yourself up, without years of trial and error. This is a game-changing moment, but unfortunately, 99 out of 100 entrepreneurs won't see this. You want to know why? Because they don't see the difference. They think that they still need to be experts. They think that they need to have all the answers. They think that they need the years of experience before they can create any digital products. And that's complete bullshit. I was the expert. I had spent the whole year figuring this thing out. And you don't have to do that. You have something better. You have AI that can synthesize the wisdom of dozens of experts, hundreds of experts. You can combine the best of different methodologies. You can fill in the gaps that you didn't know even existed before, and you can package it all up into something incredible in hours, not years. Here's what I wish someone would have told back then, and write this thing down. Do it before you know how, because the act of doing this will give you more insight than any amount of study ever could. You can't learn how to swim in a seminar. And if you make the right decision, guess what you're going to get in reward? The market will tell you, hey, you're onto something. Here's some money. I like you. What else you got, right? But success is often about making decisions right, more so than making the right decisions immediately. So you don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. Can you do that for me? Can you commit to me? Say, Jason Flavin, I am going to start. This is the day everything changes. And with synthesized AI, that means starting very, very easily, very effectively, and very quickly. Now, next month, not when you feel ready, because spoiler alert, you will never feel ready at first. You will only feel ready after you do the thing, and not when you have to become an expert either. I'm talking today. The opportunity is right there in front of you. The opportunity isn't just knocking at your door. It's kicking in the fucking window and trying to shake you out of bed. And the question is this: are you going to be one of the 99 who still find a way to make an excuse that's greater than your future, or are you going to be the one who takes action? And I'm coming at you a little hard because I care. And hopefully the authenticity of that shows that you can see where this is coming from. It's coming from a place of care and concern, because I want the best in you. And here's where it gets really insane, because everything that tortured me back then is a non-issue for you today. I was completely wrapped up in whether my product would succeed or fail. I was losing sleep over it. I was stress eating. You should see pictures of me. Google them. Jason Flavin, fat. You'll see some fat Jason Flavins back in the day, right? I was checking my sales dashboard every 5 minutes like some sort of deranged day trader. And why? Because it was my name on it. It was by Jason Flavin. It was my face on it. And it was my reputation on the line for it. So if it flopped, I would take it personal. Feel like everyone would think I was a fraud. But you don't have to put your name on it. You don't have to put your face on it. You don't have to put anything on it. You create products under any name you want. You test markets anonymously. You fail completely in privacy. You went under a pseudonym. You take zero personal risk. You put zero ego on the line, and you win. You know, and I was freaking out because I didn't even know where to start. Because actually, that's the hardest process. Is, you know, an object at rest stays at rest. How do I start? But an object in motion stays in motion. So I didn't know where to start. What should I write about first? What should I structure? How should I structure it? What order should I put information in?